Hey there, and welcome to Breakfast with Mark Daniels for Monday, February 10th, 2020. Long Island weather. Your forecasters have been saying that we'll be above normal. Today, all the way through Thursday, we'll be in the mid to upper 40s, nighttime lows around 40. By the end of the week, it looks like temperatures will be near normal with highs of 29 and lows of 12. That's not till Friday. Thank goodness we have Valentine's Day on Friday to heat things up a bit. Looks like we'll get some rain today and tomorrow and on Thursday, but no snow. And now to that stuff we put on pasta. Yeah, the red stuff. Is it sauce or is it gravy? I received more reaction to that than practically any other topic that we discussed here on Breakfast with Mark Daniels. And this stemmed from a picture that my son sent me. My son's girlfriend's mom works in an Italian store, but it's out of state. This brand happened to be Jersey Italian, what they call gravy. You would think in New Jersey that they would know better. Well, at least in my humble opinion. So I wanted your opinion. Do you call it gravy or do you call it sauce? Because to me, when it comes to gravy, it's in a gravy boat, let's say, and you're going to pour that stuff on turkey, chicken, or maybe there's beef gravy that you're going to put on a steak or some sort of an eye-round roast, I suppose. But I know you can use that handy gravy boat to put pasta sauce in, or gravy, as some of you might call it. The bottom line is, over 75% of those that commented on Facebook or Instagram called it sauce. The other 20% or 25% called it gravy. Some other distinguishing factors, whether it's sauce or gravy, included if you've used meat or vegetables in your pasta covering, if you will, then it's gravy. If it's just remove the lid, heat it up, and pour it over your pasta, then it's sauce. Either way, I'm calling it sauce, always called it sauce, and always will call it sauce. I want to take this one step further. My wife, Marianne, hi, hon.
Hi.
You're an expert when it comes to sauce versus gravy because of your Irish, English, and German background.
Me?
So I wanted to know, when you were growing up, what do you call it?
Sauce.
Good. No wonder we're so happily married.
Is that the secret?
But when you were growing up, you know, and your mom would make spaghetti and sauce or gravy, what did she call it? Did she call it sauce or gravy?
My mom?
Yeah.
She called it takeout.
And one final note on this, I did take to Google, and I asked Google, in Italy, do they call it sauce or gravy? Apparently, in Italy, they don't have or use the term gravy. If they say salsa or ragu or sugo, they mean sauce, meat or no meat. I'm not saying you're wrong. Call it what you want. And in any case, just manja. So while you're here, I have one more question to ask you.
Okay.
Why is it that when a guy asks his girlfriend or his wife what she would like for Valentine's Day, why is it that most women always say, I don't know, use your imagination? We hate that.
Why? Why do you hate that?
Because we wouldn't be asking if our imagination hadn't dried up.
Uh-oh. Sometimes we just like to be pleasantly surprised.
As opposed to unpleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
This is what you got me for Valentine's Day?
Exactly.
I think it would be more helpful if you just sort of said, let's say, oh, I'd just love to have a dinner and a movie with you, or something like that.
Well, that sounds good, but you can come up with that on your own, can't you?
But we would like to be reassured before we schedule the dinner and the movie, or we buy you some flowers and candy, that this is what you really want. Because it's an important holiday, I think.
Oh, it's definitely an important holiday. I have a list.
Oh, wait, you have a list?
I have a list, actually.
Is this the real list, that things that we can get, or things that you just want before you die?
How about a job for you?
Well, that would be like a perfect Valentine's gift for me.
And me.
Well, and you too. But seriously, I think really when it comes down to it, I think guys want a little more reassurance about that they're doing and buying and gifting the right thing before they do it. It's like with any major holiday. We want to feel a little more secure when delivering the Valentine gift, knowing that this is something that you really wanted.
Well, see, now automatically you're putting it like it has to be a thing or a purchase. What about just spending time together?
Is that what you want?
Not really.
Do you know that on the calendar tomorrow, I have it written in Valentine's Day. So it reminds me that I got to start thinking and getting creative about the love day on Friday.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
Wheels in motion.
So what do? If your partner says to you, what would you like for Valentine's Day? Do you tell them something specific? Or do you let them use their imagination and head out into the wilderness of Valentine's shopping, wondering if they'll ever come home with the right gift? You can comment on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. So Saturday night, it was kind of quiet around here, and I did something that I haven't done in a really long time. I binge watched, and it was bad, but it was so good. Netflix gives you plenty of opportunities to binge watch, where you could sit there all day and all night, and probably the next day, depending upon how many seasons the show has, and watch until you drop. The show I started watching, and I don't recommend this for kids because it has a mature audience's rating on it, is called You. Someone had told me about it a while ago, and I finally started watching it, and it was like I was completely glued to show after show after show. And the nice thing about Netflix is that they put every available season and every available episode up for you to watch. You just have to determine whether it's time to stop or not. And I have to admit, if you get into a good show, it's really hard to stop. The last time we binge watched anything in this house, at least my wife and myself, was when we watched Breaking Bad. And in order to binge watch effectively, you have to have a lot of available time. And the other nice thing about Network's binge watching is that there are no commercials between you and the next episode. Gone are the days when you had to wait an entire summer to find out who shot JR. All you have to do is click next episode, and there it is. And according to Ranker.com, the 5 most popular binge-watching shows are Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, The Walking Dead, Dexter, which I tried. I was too grossed out. I couldn't keep it up. And Sherlock. Some others with notable mentions include Stranger Things, House of Cards, and Lost. And I will say that the show You on Netflix qualifies for one of the best of the best. So what makes for a good binge-watching show? Well, I could tell you all of the things I experienced on Saturday night. It was about 8:30, and I put the thing on, and I started watching. At the end of every episode, I could not wait to find out what happened. The cliffhangers in this show were incredible. And you know, at the very end of each episode, it'll give you a countdown clock. 7, 6, 5 seconds until the next episode starts. I could not wait to hit play now to start the next episode. It was that good. I was so consumed by this show that I didn't even realize what time it was. It was 8:30 when I started. I looked up at the clock when I felt a little tired and thought I should go to bed. It was 1 a.m. I watched 4.5 hours of this network show that consumed me from start to finish. And when I went to bed finally, all I could think about was the show and what had happened and the characters and the surprises and what's going to be next. It made getting to sleep impossible. I didn't take one bathroom break or go upstairs for chips or snacks or popcorn or milk duds. I just kept watching. That defines a great binge-watching type of show. And I have to be honest that I did feel a little guilty at times, wondering if the rest of my family needed me or knew where I was or cared where I was. But obviously, it wasn't enough guilt for me to go upstairs and say hi. I just kept watching. And as I implied, I don't do this often. Although tonight, I really would like to think that everybody else in the house has something else to do because I want to go to season 2 so bad. The only drawback that I can think of with binge watching, because I experienced it, at least my wife and I experienced it when we were watching Breaking Bad, was that when the show finally ended and there were no more episodes to watch, it was a huge void. Now, what do? What do I know everything that happened. It's over. It's that withdrawal that you have from binge watching a show that you like so much that you have to deal with because there's no more. How could there be no more? There's got to be more. So I'd like you to tell me, What is your favorite show to binge watch? If you've never tried it, I strongly suggest it, especially on a rainy or snowy day or when you have a few hours to kill. You can comment on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. And finally today, I wanted to discuss horn etiquette. There are really two scenarios with this, and I've experienced both a few times this week. One is, you're the first car in line. The light turns green. And for whatever reason, you don't go instantly. Either you're distracted with conversation you're having someone in the car, maybe your phone, maybe you're adjusting the temperature of your heat or air conditioning. But the second that light turns green and you don't hit the gas, someone behind you will blare their horn. I'm not fond of that. Those are the impatient people that really, I always think, have an emergency to go to. I mean, actually, if they had an emergency to go to, they would have gone around everyone and maybe run the red light. Not that I think that that's something you should consider doing, nor do I condone. The second is if you're in a line of cars waiting for a light to turn green, and let's just say there's one car in front of you, the light turns green and nobody goes. How long do you wait before you hit the horn? I think we're all a little bit different. Obviously, when I got beeped at, that person had a very low horn threshold rate. That was probably within a millisecond. But for me personally, I only like to use the horn if it's like an emergency situation and someone's coming at you and they don't see you. So I sat there with the light green, waiting for this person to go. You know the feeling. And they never went. So I gave a little toot-toot on the horn. A friendly kind of a toot-toot. There are two types of horn blows. There's the friendly toot-toot, hey, time to go. Or there's the blaring horn, I'm really mad at you and want to scoop your eyes out. But either way, when you use the horn, it says that you're not happy. Unless you're giving a friendly toot to the letter carrier or a neighbor. So I use my horn very carefully. The one thing on Long Island that we don't want to have to go through is another light cycle, especially on Route 347. And what's really funny is that when you do give them a little toot-toot because they've been looking down at their phone that they're not supposed to be looking at, they look up and then they gun it. Now, the horn really does have a place, and that would be in New York City. How many times have you visited Manhattan, and when you walk around, all you do is hear horns? Could you imagine Manhattan hornless? I've been in Manhattan in hotels like 14 floors or 15 floors up, still able to clearly hear the horns down on the street at 2:25 in the morning. But then again, without the horns, it just wouldn't be Manhattan. So what about you? You're at a light, the light turns green, and the car ahead of you is obviously distracted with something, and they don't go. How long do you wait to give them a friendly toot? We'd love to hear your comments on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. And that'll do it for today's episode of Breakfast with Mark Daniels. As always, thank you so much for listening. Breakfast with Mark Daniels is available on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Alexa, YouTube, and Buzzsprout.com. Just search Breakfast with Mark Daniels. The more you share, the more you like, the bigger we grow. Thank you so much for doing that. And don't forget, if you want to email me, you can anytime at breakfastwithmarkdaniels@gmail.com. I hope you have a great Monday. We'll see you here tomorrow for Breakfast with Mark Daniels.